And hello, episode 2, the one I'm excited about, because movies and movies and movies and more movies.
And I'm
Um,
here.
and yeah, so welcome to A and K After Hours, AK, A and K 47, doesn't matter.
We're
What
after
matters
hours.
is we're after hours, exactly. I'm Austin,
I'm Khalil.
and we're ready to talk about some stuff. So a little preference. I'm the bigger movie person. Khalil's not the biggest movie. Every time they watch a movie that I'm not in the room, they fall asleep.
I find it very hard to get through a movie. I don't know
Yeah, they do it
what
in
it
like two
is.
sittings.
I do. I have to do it in two sittings, sometimes three, depending. So I have to watch it like it's episodes.
I know. I find that so funny. Um, but today we're here to talk about a lot of things involving movies, and I think the best way to do this would just be going at it head on. I don't think we should start with the heaviest hitting questions because that's going to take some thought process. So instead, I think we should start with some of my favorite ones that I wrote down that are random. Which is, I want to start with. Okay, well here, let's do this. What's the last movie you saw?
The last movie I saw, which was just the other day, I
New
saw
movie.
new movie. Oh, new movie. The last new movie I saw was um, Deadpool 3.
How'd you like it?
I actually really enjoyed that movie.
I still need to see that one. I just really want to see the Channing Tatum line where he's playing a black Creole man for some reason when it comes to his vocabulary. Um, like, what is he? What's the famous line that got memed to death? It's like you look at like a buffet, and I'm gonna like I don't even know.
I
That
don't
just looks
remember.
funny.
I just know that the movie was funny. I had a good laugh while watching that movie. Um, and I definitely think you should watch it at some point.
Yeah, because I've seen 1 and 2. I'm kind of pretentious when it comes to comic books and comic movies due to the fact that like I grew up reading comics and I actually grew up reading Deadpool, unlike everyone who saw the movies and then made it their entire personality, like the people that do that with Rick and Morty. Which
I mean, people.
fans ruined that
They,
show for me. After season 2, it's not as good, but the people ruined that show for me.
I mean, like people have made Harry Potter their personality.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
I mean,
Potterheads.
Marvel, like anything Marvel,
Yeah,
that's a
yep.
personality now. So you know how it is.
Liking sriracha in Austin, Texas, that's a personality.
I won't lie, I do like sriracha. I like sriracha mayo as
I
well.
never had it.
Never.
Nah,
See,
it's I don't know.
I don't know. I use sriracha and gochujang, and I mean I think sriracha is just a notch above gochujang, but gochujang is really good. It's more like a sweet spice.
Okay. What was the last movie I saw that I hadn't seen before? I rewatch movies like crazy.
Dude, I would rather rewatch a movie than watch a new movie.
Yeah, there's an anxiety to it for sure. Gosh, I think the last movie I saw that was new to me, I might have to pull up my Hulu. I know for sure I watched. I don't want to say what the movie I watched like 2 or 3 movies ago, due to the fact that it's gonna be in my recommendeds when we do that part of this.
Okay.
Is there like a? Can you actually check what you watched recently? No, I guess you can't, which is stupid. Um, Last movie I saw in theaters was. Oh, actually, I guess the last movie I saw in theaters was the one about domestic abuse that Ryan Reynolds' wife, people like ripped on her for not taking it seriously enough. I can't remember. Let me look that up.
I don't know this movie.
Ryan Reynolds. I hate that this is the way I have to do it. Wife.
Ryan
Blake
Reynolds.
Lively. And then movie. It ends with us. I liked the movie. I did. It was a little extreme. So if you're not able to handle certain, themes, especially that of like abuse and awful relationships and traumatic events, but I did really like it. I really liked the not the husband, but the other love interest in the movie. He reminded me a lot of parts of my life and people I grew up with, not in the like the love aspect, but like the aspirations, trials, and tribulations things. So I liked him. I think that's what made me like the movie the most. So that might be the last movie I've seen that I hadn't saw before, besides the other one I could think of, but that's coming at the end, and I'll remind myself to say that's the one I saw last. But okay, so that is the last movies that we saw. Now I want to go straight for the throat.
Okay.
When we think about movies and effects, I have no fear in admitting I hate green screen. I hate new CGI. I hate Marvel movies because how they are literally filmed on a studio film lot for about, like, I know I'm being exaggerative, but like 70% of the film is literally in front of a green screen and that's it.
Yes.
So, I mean, my favorite era of movies is like 80s and 90s, hands down,
Okay,
without
listen,
doubt.
I absolutely agree. I'm always telling Alita how much I love 80s and 90s movies.
They're just superior. Like, the way I see it is like, in the show sheet, I have it written CGI or green screen. My answer is probably 90s CGI
Yes.
and green screen only if you have to use it. There are some movies who have done these things very successfully, like Inception did CGI very well. That's in the 2010s. There's other ones too. Like, don't get me wrong, you can do it well, but we're relying on it so much more than ever. And now with like AI getting as prevalent as it can, which that's a whole nother conversation about how that's going to affect movies.
Yep.
But it's only going to get more cheesy looking. Like, when I watch a modern day Marvel film, I'm not exaggerating. I feel like I'm watching a B movie. Like, it doesn't feel AAA quality. It feels cruddy. It feels so fake. I can like just go like, oh yeah, that's CGI or green screen or AI added effect. Like, they look so bad in my opinion.
It does.
Guardians of the Galaxy might be one of the few that actually doesn't fall into that category because that film was beautifully produced. But yeah, I think I prefer set building and effects. I mean, you can
Oh god, yes.
people rag on. This episode's gonna be a lot of me talking, friends. I'm sorry if you like Khalil. But like, if you look at movies from like the 80s and 90s, and I'm going to pick a few random here, and one of them's not even like well received, but if you look at like the Flintstones with John Goodman, that I think was from the 90s, dude, they spent so much money.
I remember that movie.
They spent so much money and time building the world. They actually built an entire bedrock city. They built an entire, like, it's insane how much effort went into it with the sets, the actual time and effort building the sets, painting them, designing them, the puppets used for the dinosaurs and the other household items that were the animals. Like, it's such a good film in that regards. Like, I'm a nerd and I look at like, oh, what kind of camera was it shot on? What are the lighting effects? Like, sometimes movies can pull, if the story's not good enough, I'll get pulled out and I'll just start critiquing like the background, the actors in the background, the sets, the lighting, the mood, the audio even. And so you look at movies like the Flintstones, you look at movies like one of the ones I'm going to bring up later that involves a superhero that is really well done from the 90s. There's just a certain level of like effort that went in. And I know they still build sets and everything, but not nearly like they used to. And I get it's a massive amount of money needed, time and effort, and I get that. But like,
but there's also time and effort and money into using the CGI.
Thank you. And environmental impact. Like, you can reuse wood.
Yes. You
can reuse plaster, marble, but you know you're using a huge environmental impact when you're using these CGI components. And it's like also like it's not creating as many jobs. Like, I know that kind of sounds a little annoying, but like, it's true. Like, imagine building a set like they did. I'm gonna just keep going back to the Flintstones because it's such a good set. Like, the amount of people that worked on that was massive. It gave people jobs for like a year plus, and that's awesome. And they got to be a part of that, and people enjoyed it, even though it's not the most critically acclaimed. In fact, I think it's pretty critically pooped on. At least the sequel is. I think the first one had decent reception, otherwise they wouldn't have made a sequel. Mm-hmm. The sequel is like Viva La Rock Vegas, which...
Oh, anyway. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's funny when you look at movies now, because like, I'll still watch pretty much any movie. I really will. I just like movies. I like criticizing them. I like enjoying them. I like turning my brain off and just relaxing or... laughing, crying, love it, you name it. Like, I art is such an amazing thing, and I know Khalil agrees with that, but one of my favorite art formats is for sure that of film and cinema. So, which is funny because I can also be the exact opposite, and I can love awful movies just because I love them. And I think that's the appreciation aspect of movies that I truly grasp to and really enjoy. So what that kind of okay. So we're in agreement. You'd rather so you would rather see like practical effects and set building more than CGI and green screen.
Yes. Oh God, yes. I
Okay, because
mean,
there are people who are the opposite. Go ahead.
I know. I mean, I was just like, as you were talking about like older movies and set designs, I'm just thinking about like all the old martial arts video or movies that I've watched,
Yes,
like Five
yes.
Venoms and stuff. Like the sets were well designed. It's
Is it
like
the Fist of the Dragon or the 100 Year? There's so many that
there's
it's
so
just the
many.
visual effects are like practical effects. They're not
Yes.
made through computer. It's so good. Keep going.
No, that's about it. I like watching those and seeing the sets. I don't know. Seeing a set is much more pleasing to the eye than seeing CGI. I don't know.
Absolutely.
For me, it's like all the CGI kind of just messes with my eyes. Like I can't keep track of things sometimes. So
Well, because like here, and I'll throw on an example while I talk about this, but like you can look at a movie like Mars Attacks, and I don't think you've seen that one, but like it's a movie that Tim Burton worked on that was kind of like purposely a farce. He got like the biggest names in Hollywood to play in the most ridiculous comedy he could think of about Martians invading Earth, and it purposely is a movie. I think it's from maybe it's the 70s, but I'm pretty darn sure it's the 80s, maybe even the 90s. I should probably look that up. Actually, it's crazy. But the whole purpose of it is he's trying to recreate this like 1950s film feel, and they do it so well in that regards whenever it's a real live person. And then the CGI, the actual added effects that people had to model, craft, create, and implant in a way there's like they're not the best. I mean, the time period puts a huge handicap on it, but they're still so good. And I think any person could turn that movie on today and still genuinely and thoroughly enjoy it without being like, "Oh, that looks so stupid or so cheesy." And if they do, that's on them for thinking that way, because I I look at modern movies and I'm like, "This is disgusting. This looks fake. This feels fake. It leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Like it's just like I don't even know how to explain how much it angers. And it's fine. I can get over it, and I can watch movies that are modern with a lot of green screen or CGI. But it's just like it definitely detracts from me.
yeah.
But interesting stuff. I like it. It's a good conversation already. Okay, let's go backwards. So what's the worst popular movie in your opinion? Like, what's a movie that made it huge and everyone enjoys it and loves it, but you're just like, I think this is terrible.
That is a good question because they're Titanic. God, I
I
hate
knew you were gonna
Titanic.
say
I
it. God, I
fucking
knew
hate
it too.
Titanic, dude.
As soon as I said it, I was like, Khalil's just gonna say Titanic.
I cannot stand that movie. That movie is just I don't know. I feel like it was like I'll give it to him. Leonardo DiCaprio did a great job in the movie, but I mean the film being based off I don't know. This is like that I couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand it. Um
It's also 3 hours long.
yeah, first of all, it's way too long. I'm trying to remember like all my criticisms of that movie
I'll
that
tell
I
you mine real quick while you think about it.
yeah.
I think mine, and I can separate two things. This is important because otherwise people might get mad at me. I can separate how visually stunning and impactful this movie was to visual effects category, which honestly it might have affected it negatively based on our previous conversation, in my personal opinion. But I did not care at all for Avatar.
You talking about
The blue people.
oh, that's another movie that I don't like.
I
That
don't like it. I think
don't
it's
like
so
it.
overrated. I get it's
Yes,
visually
yes.
stunning, blah 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 blah. I can appreciate that, but I think it's just a bad movie, man.
I do too. So I'm glad you said that. I
I
also could
just
not
can't
stand that
stand it.
movie. But like I think it was like the plot of of Titanic couldn't stand that. The like I don't
It's
know
fictional on a real
yeah.
tragedy.
Exactly. The whole like I don't know. I felt like the love story was a bit weird. Um,
Yeah,
it,
fair.
it annoyed me every step of the way. I just yeah. As for Avatar, I couldn't stand just
It's stupid.
yeah. It's stupid.
This man can't use his legs, so let's plug him into a world that we don't really understand and have him learn about it for us. And Oh,
becomes
time is
the
different.
savior
You
of
you
the
have a you have a tail that can connect to a tree that mates.
yeah,
Like,
becomes the savior of this place. Like did the kind that kind of
just what's
bullshit.
going on? It's like white savior
It is. That's what it is.
syndrome in the weirdest way of like a military veteran with a disability that like. And then the second one, I didn't watch it, but hearing the complaints about that was fun because I was like, oh, people are finally on my side.
Yeah, I refuse to watch the second one. I won't do it.
Yeah, I didn't. I can't. I didn't like that. I'm fine with Titanic. It's not, I don't hate it, but I also don't give it as much credit as other people do. I think it falls into that trap of like, oh, it was so critically acclaimed at its time that it's forever a perfect movie, and like, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not Citizen Kane. Like, I hate to be that guy, but Citizen Kane's really good, and I think that deserves to be on a pedestal for all of movie history. But the Titanic is just like, I don't know if I'd put it in my top 200 movies, and I've easily seen I don't even know.
An
I've seen
unruly
way
amount
too
of
many.
movies.
Yeah, yeah, and so I don't know if it would crack that list. I really, I'd put comedies before it. I'd put a lot of comedies before it.
Yeah, that is fair.
So that actually brought me. I was telling Holly about this episode idea, and it brought us to the idea. I was like, that's why it's in the show sheet of like, in a second we'll get to it, of like there is a difference between favorite movies and best movies. Because there's a lot of movies that I think are so well done and significant, whether it's historically, visually, audible, or like other categories, that it really deserves its credit, but it doesn't mean it's my favorite. I think you would agree on that, where it's like
Yeah.
you can usually separate those two categories. So I guess we'll get into the hard hitting questions now.
Yes.
Let's do. Do you want to start with favorites or do you want to start with best?
Probably start with favorites.
Okay. Do you have your favorite list?
I do.
I'm so
And,
curious because I think I know a few, and I'll let you know if I got any of them right.
Okay. So Rush Hour.
I knew that one was going to be on there.
So that is number one. The other ones I haven't really placed in an order.
Yeah, I get that. Trust me.
So Shrek. I love Shrek. I
It's
will
so
go back
good.
to that
It's
movie
so good.
all the time. Lilo and Stitch,
Oh, great.
Ip Man, and Police Story.
It Man is crazy. Did you say Police Story?
Yes, it's
Like Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan.
I didn't know you've ever seen that. That makes me so happy.
Dude,
Wow.
I've seen like 4 of them.
Yeah, I know there's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah. Police Story, Police Story 2, Police Story 3. Police Story 3 being my favorite out of the 3, but just overall, I love
Wow.
Police
I didn't know
Story.
you've seen those. That's crazy.
Dude, I
That
have
was cool.
I went on like a freaking like journey of watching like
Martial
old
arts movies.
martial arts movies, but like old Jackie Chan movies.
He's so good.
He is. I'm like some of them I would have never known about. He's done a lot
absolutely.
of movies.
He is.
I am very sad that he doesn't release them in America anymore. So it's a lot harder to
Yeah.
watch his stuff.
Yeah. Because didn't he do that because he's tired of speaking English?
I can't remember what the reason was.
That's more of a joke. It's not
Yeah.
actually that one. I just wanted to say that because I thought it was funny.
But yeah, those are gonna be my top 5.
Okay. So I've seen all of those. Okay, good. I was wondering if if you were going to catch me off guard with one or not, but no, I've seen them all. I like the list. For my favorites, it's a little bit harder. I might have to do a few honorable mentions just because how many movies I've seen and I adore.
Can I give an honorable mention then?
Please give one or two if you want.
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I'm actually surprised I didn't crack your top 5 because I know you really enjoy that movie.
I really do. It's a great one. All
Yeah,
right, go ahead.
it is. Okay, so I think when it comes to my favorite movies, and this is different than best because I think only one of these might fall into the both categories. But for sure, my favorite movies, and this is this is where it gets funny because my favorite movies aren't going to be like the most critically acclaimed or well filmed either. I struggle with this list for like a couple days. I don't know if there is a number one with a bullet, but I think I'm So I have the DVD right here. I'll start with saying Bruce Almighty. I'm wearing the hockey jersey
Okay.
I custom made for it. So it's the team he's a fan of with their logo. It says Almighty. It says '03 because the movie was released in 2003, and it's about God, and it's God. And what is it? The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. That's another three Trinity. Got the captain on it. So I did. I mean, I love that movie. Bruce Almighty's up there. Looney Tunes Back in Action is one of my favorite movies of all time. The
Yeah.
first Scooby Doo live action with Matthew Lillard playing Shaggy. Cars might be up there, but I think instead of Cars, I'm going to put 12 Angry Men, which is a screenplay,
Okay.
and a book. It was
Okay.
based on the book. I think it tugs at my heartstrings in a way that some movies can't, and it's not like an emotional way. It's just like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just so good. I love it. And then the Batman Forever. Here's my promotional McDonald's car from back in the day. I have the original released hat and T-shirt as well. Freaking love that movie. That's directed by Tim Burton, which is crazy.
I have a very good memory of you and I going to watch Batman. The Dark? What was the third one? That third one with the
Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises. I have fond memories of going to see that.
That
And
might be
then,
in my 5 of best movies. That might be in that one, honestly.
and then afterwards we went and we just saw another movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do remember that. I don't remember the other movie. But
I don't know.
remember
I don't
doing
remember
that.
the other movie either.
It was a comedy. I do remember
Yeah.
that. And then my fifth would probably be 12 Angry Men. Like I said, yeah, absolutely. So Scooby Doo, Bruce Almighty, Looney Tunes Back in Action, 12 Angry Men, and Batman Forever are probably my top 5 favorite movies. Honorable mentions would be things like Cars, The Mask, another Jim Carrey movie, oddly enough.
Okay, yeah, Mask is a good one.
The Mask is so good. I think those would be my honorable mentions. I mean, there's Airplane. Airplane's my third honorable
there we
mention.
go. Yeah.
I watch Airplane multiple times a year usually. I love slapstick comedy. It definitely helped create the person I am. Slapstick's a little harder to do on a podcast. You're not with your, broadcasting buddy physically in the same room. But yeah, Airplane's definitely my other honorable mention. So before we move into best movies we've seen, let's talk about. I know, so obviously you don't celebrate Christmas, but I'm pretty sure all Americans watch Christmas movies
I
regardless.
definitely watch Christmas movies. Yeah.
Christian movies.
Chris.
Praise be. I mean, Bruce Almighty that's not a Christian movie. That's a joke. Morgan Freeman as God is so funny to me. I don't know why. It truly is. I think like that's probably, I don't know what other actor would have done it as well as he did. So what is your favorite Christmas movie? Because like I can't choose between two, so I'll let you answer first.
Oh, see, there are two on my
Say 'em.
mind.
Say two then.
Okay. How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh, yep. Okay, I have 3 then.
and Jingle All the Way.
Okay, you and I are in agreement. So before you said Grinch, because I forgot about that, which another Jim Carrey movie.
Yes.
The Grinch is one of the best movies I've ever seen for holiday movies. It just hands down. I actually get very upset if I don't watch it during the holiday season. Some other holiday movies I don't need to watch every year, but I have 3 that I actually do have to watch every year, which is The Grinch, Jingle All the Way as well. Turbo Man's just
Yeah.
put that cookie down. And then my third one is easily Christmas Vacation, and I love Chevy Chase as an actor. As a human, he's butthole, but as an actor, there's so many films that Chevy Chase is in. Whether it's the Vacation series, Fletch, some of the other National Lampoon movies that he's in. I mean, he's in a lot of good films. The original SNL Weekend Update was Chevy. As an actor, he's so goated, but as a human, he's just so booty. But yeah, for sure, Christmas Vacation, Jingle All the Way, and The Grinch. Those are a 3-way tie. I can't choose between them. They're so different that like I can't pick one. I guess Jingle All the Way is near the top, if not the top, due to the fact that it's a family movie. In the way of it, it does revolve around a family, and it's not all comedy like Christmas Vacation. And then The Grinch is more obviously like fun, haha, kid movie, but it's good for adults as well.
Yes.
So I think Jingle might be number 1. But yeah, those 3 movies are just so So good. Those are Christmas movies. If we're doing holiday, I would actually have to throw in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Steve Martin movie. I consider it more of a Thanksgiving movie. I'm pretty darn sure it actually is a Christmas movie, but I watch it during Thanksgiving. So I'll be watching that this week at least twice.
I'm trying to think what Thanksgiving movie have I do I feel like I don't really know Thanksgiving
It's a
movies.
harder category. There's not too many that are like exclusive to Thanksgiving.
Right, they just take place around Thanksgiving. Why
Hmm.
do I
And that
feel
usually
like
includes Christmas.
I feel like oh shoot, what is that movie? It is I don't think it's Cheaper by the Dozen. What is this? Hold on. There's like
Cheaper by
a
the Dozens, where he marries that lady who they each have like 6 kids.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I feel like there was one of those that fell like
I think you're right.
into Thanksgiving.
Oh, Holly and I just watched. This is the other not. So I can think of 3 movies I watched recently. I'm going to save one for the suggested. But another movie that Holly and I just watched was like, if it, and I explained this to her multiple times with my neurodivergency as we were watching it, that this was the most 80s movie I'd ever seen, but it was actually released in the 90s. I think it was released in 90 or 91, and I told her, I was like, I bet you it was filmed in the 80s though, because this feels 80s, which was Father of the Bride. Highly suggest you watch that one for Thanksgiving this year, Khalil. It's so good.
I've heard of
Father
that
of the
movie.
Bride's
Father of the
about,
Bride. Okay.
yeah, it's so good. I would highly suggest everyone watch it. It's like heartwarming and funny. You can call a lot of the plots, like call them out pretty early. It doesn't take too much critical thinking to guess what's going to happen next, but it doesn't matter. It's a fun watch. It's great. It made me feel a lot of good emotion, and that's gonna. Holly and I agreed that's gonna be in our Thanksgiving rotation movies for the rest of our life.
Oh, nice.
Because it was just good. The second one I watched without her because she didn't have the energy in her, and I can watch movies literally for a whole day back to back to back to back without issue. So I watched the second one when she passed out, and not as good, not a bad movie, but not even close to as good. Follow the Bride, phenomenal movie if you haven't seen it. Okay, so that takes care of like Christmas and Thanksgiving movies. What's your favorite rom com?
God. Oh God. Rom com. I I don't.
I
Do I
like The
even?
Proposal and Legally Blonde.
Yeah. So okay. Here's something interesting. I've always wanted to watch Legally Blonde, and I haven't. I haven't seen that movie. Um. You typically though, I can't stand rom coms, so I'm like struggling to even think of one that I've seen.
That's fine. If you can't think of one, then we don't have to ask you for that. But yeah, mine's The Proposal, Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, and then Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde is really good as a movie and as a stage play. I've seen it both ways.
Hmm.
Legally Blonde 2, I could do without. But yeah, I really enjoy those two. What's your favorite horror movie? Is it Silence of the Lambs, or is there something more horror?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I
Silence
think
of
I
the
would call Silence of the Lambs as
Lambs.
more of a thriller.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. There is this one movie um that I really like. Let me look this up real quick
Yeah, you
while
do
you
that.
give
I think
yours.
mine. Um, I really do like the original. I might be mixing 2 movies here because there's like Dawn of the Dead and the Evil Dead. I really like the original
Okay.
Evil Dead. I think Evil Dead. Let me make sure that's the right one and not the comedy version, because if it's the right one, 1980 Evil Dead.
I do have a couple. Um
No,
as
I
a
think Evil Dead is the comedy one. So what is what's the yeah, Evil Dead's the comedy one that my friend's dad actually is the person who made it. Fun story there. What is the book in the okay, horror movie with the book in the woods?
but
Oh, it
there's
is the Evil Dead. Sorry, keep going.
okay. There is this horror movie called Hush. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
I've
seen
heard
it.
of that. I haven't seen it, but I have heard of that.
That's a really good one. Um As Above, So Below.
I haven't even heard of that one. Interesting. Okay.
Yes, that's a really good one. I They received like really good scores as well. Um, there's that, and then one that didn't do so well, but I enjoyed nonetheless was Silent Hill Revelation.
Oh, okay, fair. I really okay, and then favorite thriller for you would be Silence of the Lambs. For me, it's actually Deep Ocean Blue. I'm not sure if I made you watch that with me or not, but it's about like an undersea lab, shark research center. I don't know
Okay.
why, but that movie has me gripping whatever chair I'm sitting in every time I watch it. Even child, adult, doesn't matter. That movie
Because you're
gets me in a way.
underwater, man.
That's why I have such a
I'm
fear
telling you.
of the ocean and of sharks. Even
Yes.
though I'm fascinated with sharks, they're my favorite animal. But they are scarier than
Dude, the
all get out.
ocean is scary. Okay,
Beyond belief,
I
beyond
I
belief.
I can't. You will not catch me in the ocean.
I've
Sorry,
went once, and I'm glad I went once.
I will go see the ocean,
Yeah,
but
I'll
I'm
go
not
see
going.
it many times, but I went in once, and I was like, I'm not going to risk a shark attack ever again, because I really like Jaws as well. But I understand that Jaws
You
is a
know,
slow burn.
honestly, like I think I'm less afraid of sharks and more afraid of riptides.
Yeah, because they'll just drown you, pull you out.
Yep.
Okay, so that's those categories. Is your favorite child's movie Lilo and Stitch then?
Actually, no. I would actually say it was Pokemon 2000.
I'm sorry. Do you mean? Oh, I thought I had it ready to go. I have this one right next to me. This is a good one though.
Your
The
camera
Mewtwo
is
and Mew.
basically frozen for me.
Oh, it's the VHS of Mewtwo and Mew
And
movie.
Mew, yeah, the
I
first movie.
have Pokemon. I have Pokemon 2000 somewhere on VHS in this room, but I just don't know where. I love VHS movies. Fair.
I had the VHS as a kid, and I think it got lost probably as while growing up and moving. Um,
I
but
think mine's Cars.
I watched the hell out of Pokemon 2000. I didn't care how many times I had seen it. I would put it on,
That's me with
and
Cars.
yeah, I was thinking about it the other day. Before we get to the cars, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, yeah, I would put that movie on, and I would just look like while it was going, I would look at my Pokemon cards.
Oh, I did the
Like
same thing.
that
Absolutely.
that was my time.
I think mine's actually a tie between Cars and Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers. I
Oh,
watched those
okay.
two equally. I grew up without cable for majority of my life, and I would rewatch Cars and Cat in the Hat every single day on DVD, like unironically every single day.
I also did that with Shrek. I watched Shrek over and over
Shrek
again.
is really good. I didn't appreciate Shrek as I liked it as a kid, but I didn't appreciate it as much as I do until I got to be a teenager slash adult.
No, same. It's like
For
the
sure.
one that you and I always go back to is like the real estate joke in it.
Oh yeah, that one's. We literally were rifting Shrek quotes the other day for no reason. I can't.
Yeah.
I said one that just started a downhill. You know, it was
Yes.
funny as hell. Um, a lot of people would want to be in such tall stature as Lord Farquhar, if you
Yeah.
want to say so or whatever. It's like there's
Yeah,
just so many good ones.
many good jokes in that.
Gosh, it's so good. And number two is really good too. Like
Yes.
actually.
Yes, number 2 is really good. They did a really
Three,
good job.
I'm okay with, and I really don't like the one where they already have the babies and it's the birthday party, and then Shrek like does
Yeah.
the whole forgets who Fiona is, or no, she forgets who he is because they didn't grow up. Bob, I don't like that one, but I like 1, 2,
1 and
and
2,
3 is
yeah.
pretty decent.
I feel like there are aspects of 2, Shrek 2
That are better
make
than
it
the
better.
first.
Yeah.
The world building aspect of it.
Yes. I think that's it right there.
What's the most visually pleasing movie or couple movies you've seen? I think if it comes to animation, a lot of people might expect me to go with like, I don't know, but I think a lot of people would go with like Spirited Away or Akira if they're going anime, which I agree both are phenomenal. But I think the best animated movie I've ever seen visually is Treasure Island.
Oh, okay.
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet. Okay.
Treasure Planet was hand drawn. It was not given the credit it was due. The movie studio decided to not put as much marketing budget into it as they originally planned. You could watch it today and think it was made today. Treasure Planet is one of the greatest visual movies I've ever seen in my lifetime. It's insane.
I have not seen that movie in a very long time.
You need to watch it again. Hands down, Treasure Planet is one of the best visual movies I've ever seen in my life. I think another one would be kind of an old shout out. If I'm going real life, I mean, there's so many with real life. Like I could sit here and name actually like way too many, but I think I want to give it to because it makes you uncomfortable as a human because it's so well shot visually. Not like the quality of the film itself, but like the visuals they use in A Clockwork Orange will mess a human up. And I think without the visual aspect of it, the movie would not have been as well done. I know it's from a book, but like Clockwork Orange is probably some of the best visuals because it's all practical visual effects. It's like literally made by human hands. And so I think that is one that I would definitely throw up there really high.
So a couple of them that I think are visually pleasing are Nausicaa of the Wind, Valley of the Wind.
Okay. I don't know that one, but fair.
That's a really good one. Princess Mononoke, as
Yeah,
well.
I know that one.
Those are really good. There's this movie, Ong Bak with Tony Jaa. That one, to me, is really good. The choreography in that and the action sequences are really good. Really enjoy that. Same, actually, honestly, with oh shoot, what is it called? The Raid.
Hmm. I've heard of that one.
That's a good one too.
I think the other two I wrote down were 2001: A Space Odyssey and Inception.
Inception.
Not a huge fan of Inception, but it is visually pleasing.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know. One time I was watching Shrek, and I was like, realizing that the animation, if you like pay close attention,
so bad, and some of it's so good.
Yeah.
Some of it is just really bad, and some of it's like pretty good.
Yep. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? I feel like
a lot of the Tarantino films,
okay,
like whether it's Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction, those are all visually pleasing. He is a mastermind, as weird as he is.
I think a lot of mine would probably be like action movies for sure. Usually martial arts based, given the choreography that goes into it.
Sin City. That's an old action movie that you should probably watch. Watch Sin City. Yeah.
Honestly, I think the most visually pleasing movies I've ever seen are Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah. No, that's why I said Spirited Away would for sure be up there. I think Akira is because the hand-drawn frame by frame aspect of it is timeless.
I'm trying to think of ones getting away from animated movies. Shoot. I feel like there are plenty and I just can't think of the names.
Khalil just goes, Die Hard.
I've never seen Die Hard.
Oh, I'm mad now. Okay, let's move on.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me explain real quick. I have always wanted to watch it, and now it's easier to watch it, and I can just sit down. I can sit down and watch it.
It's a Christmas movie.
But initially, when I wanted to watch it, it was not available anywhere like on stream.
Okay, we're getting long, so let's tackle these last few questions I have actually
right.
written down. Who's your favorite actor or actress, if you can think of one?
Ooh,
I guess mine would be Jim Carrey, as much as I really didn't want to say that, but I love The Grinch, I love The Mask, I love Bruce Almighty, I like the movie 23, Eternal Sunshine, Cable Guy.
Yeah.
Like, I actually like a lot of his movies, so I think he might take my spot.
Let's see. A favorite actor. I feel like it's a hard one. I think I'm gonna have to go with Donnie Yen. He played Ip Man in the Ip Man movies.
Oh, okay, fair. Okay, I was actually when you said it originally, I was like, "Is that the Ip Man?" But I was like, "But I didn't want to be wrong, because I didn't say it."
And I've seen a lot of his movies, and I honestly he blows me away with like playing the role in every movie. So,
who's the worst actor?
Worst? That's a good question. Who is the worst actor?
He's in a lot of movies that I like, but I think one of the worst actors on this planet is George Clooney. But it's only sometimes, which is really annoying.
Brad Pitt. I can't stand Brad Pitt.
Yeah, I guess this is more of a personal than an actual bad. Because yeah,
Yeah,
fair. Um,
I
Mark
don't.
Wahlberg's the worst actor I know.
Mark Wahlberg.
He plays him and The Rock both just play themselves. I like The Rock
I
actually,
like The
so that's a
Rock
little
though.
different. But yeah, Mark Wahlberg and The Rock fall into the symptom of they just play themselves. Or Mark Wahlberg also likes to play a person he wants to be, like that Boston Street tough guy from Boondock Saints.
Mm.
So I think Mark Wahlberg's my answer for that. All right, we got to get to some of these other questions. This is the part I'm most excited for. You don't necessarily have to give me five, but I'm going to give you the list of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
And let me know if you can think of any that you think. And then after that, we'll end it with two last questions of the best movies, and then I'm going to save the last question until I ask it.
Okay.
So the worst movies I've ever seen, hands down, is Jack Frost from 1997. Not the kids movie, not the one from 1996 that was about a boy losing his father and him coming back as a snowman. 1997 Jack Frost, where a snowman comes alive, starts murdering people, and sexually assaults a woman in the shower, and you see his ice penis.
Oh my god, I feel like I remember this movie.
It's awful. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life. After that, Ridiculous Six by Adam Sandler. Stupidly racist. Stupid film. I was trying to play off of the success of Tarantino's eighth feature film, which I love, The Hateful Eight. Awful movie. Ridiculous Six is terrible. Speed 2 is really bad, and I love the first Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. I love Speed 1. Speed 2 is awful. And then my other one is Wicker Man 2006 with Nicolas Cage. If you've never seen Wicker Man from the 70s, everyone go watch it. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of nudity, but it's a movie that pins paganism against Christianity in 1970 Wales, and it's a horror
Okay.
film that's not scary, and it is so well done. The themes, the purposeful film plot aspects of it, purposeful background placement of things. Watch Wicker Man from the 70s, but Wicker Man 2006 with Nicolas Cage is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And then the last one's a category because it's the early 2000s spoof genre as a whole. So that includes one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, date movie, disaster movie, movie 42. This is Sparta, and there was one more that I can't think of, but that whole category of those movies, all awful. Those are my least favorite movies ever. Those are my top five worst movies ever, and one of them's a whole category of movies.
Oh shoot, I just had one. It was it's a M Night Shyamalan movie called Old.
Oh, Old is the new one, right?
This one was a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
Well,
that
they're
movie
on
was
that I
booty.
that
Yeah, and the
yeah.
kids start. Oh my god, it was so bad.
Oh, I was so mad after
I didn't
seeing
finish
that
it.
movie. I went with my friend. I went with Sam, and we just wanted to see a movie. We are like, okay, we gotta pick something. We ended up picking that movie, and it was ass. I left that movie theater upset. I was
I
like, I
actually
cannot believe we saw
that
that.
I can't think of. There's only one movie I've actually ever turned off other than Old. I'll sit through anything, and I can never remember the other movie. It was so bad, but there's only been two movies I've ever turned off, and Old was one of them. Honorable mention for worst movies is the Doom movie, like the gaming franchise with The Rock. It was one of his first films. Awful movie. um,
No,
okay.
I know that there have been plenty of movies that I've just had to turn off. I just can't think of the
Yeah.
names.
No,
That's
no
the
worries,
issue.
because I think we should get to the best movies, and
Okay.
I can give you my list. The best movies I've ever seen. One of them shared. They're all kind of in my top 10. I gave you my favorites, which is different because I watch all the ones I'm about to say a lot as well. But I mean, I wasn't going to put Looney Tunes Back in Action and Bruce Almighty in the best films I've ever. They're just not. But I love them. The best movies I've ever seen, and I watch them constantly. One of them actually is a Clooney film. It's one of the few films I like with George Clooney, other than the Batman, which is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? The Coen brothers. It's their take on Homer's Odyssey, and I think it's one of the greatest movies, both visually and storytelling, I've ever seen. I love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? 12 Angry Men is in that category as well. That was in my top five movies. And then one of my favorite movies of all time, that's not my top five, but it's darn near close. It's also one of the best visually appealing movies. It's one that falls into every category we've talked about that is positive, which is The Fifth Element. I freaking love The Fifth Element. Holy God, I love that movie. Dark Knight Rises, I have to admit, that's one of the best movies to ever exist. It's just so well shot, so well acted, and everything about it. Yeah, I think those are my list as of now. There's more that I know. As soon as we hang up, I'm gonna think of like, I wish I would have said that.
Oh yeah, no, that's how it's gonna be. Best movies I've seen. Oh shoot, I think The Raid is definitely up there.
I'll have to watch that.
It's really good. Yeah, no, that's one that's really good. Especially for like people who are really into martial arts movies, that's up there for them, I believe. I think Rush Hour 2 is gonna have to be in that. Rush Hour 2 is one of the best movies I have ever seen. Like that one in particular, there's like I think it's better than the first Rush Hour. I don't know.
Toy Story is in my category.
Toy Story.
Yeah, it's really good.
Toy Story is really freaking good. It's so weird. It's like trying to think of these movies. Like, and I've been trying to compile these lists for like the last few days, but movie titles are just not popping into my head. That's the problem. I don't know. This is a hard one. This is hard for me. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I was more of a movie buff. I think that is my list.
I think I gave a pretty good list, especially since it has 12 Angry Men, or Brother Without There, Fifth Element. Those are just some top-notch movies. I mean, just genuinely so good.
National Treasure 2.
I do like National Treasure 1 and 2. I know you're making a joke, but they're not the best movie I've ever seen, but I really do like those movies. The other question was, could you star in a movie, and what type of movie? But that's going to take too long to answer, so instead we're going to do what we've been waiting to do.
Okay.
Do you have it? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think I could with some work. I definitely could, and it would obviously be a martial arts movie.
I could too. It wouldn't be martial arts.
So just so everyone knows, I am a martial artist, and that's why a lot of these on my list are martial arts movies. That's what I watch mostly.
Wei Chun.
What is so? All right.
Yeah.
What's I think you could too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I'd be really good at. I'm very emotional and I'm funny, so I could be in a comedy hands down really easily. But I could also be in like, as long as it's not like about things like sexual assault or like trauma related movies, I think I could be in emotional movies about whether it's like moving away or the loss of someone or things like that. I think I could play really well in due to the fact of how much emotional potential and how much I can tap into the emotional core that I have.
Yeah, for me it's either comedy or an action movie.
So just Rush Hour.
Just because I feel like I don't when it comes to emotions, I don't have that dynamic range for it.
That's fair. You have emotions and they're deep, but I feel you're right about you. I don't know if you'd be very expressive with all of them.
Yeah. So.
All right, now we get to the part that you and I have been very much looking forward to, which is movies we want people to see that we haven't talked about. Whether that's like little known movies, whether that's even just like one that is maybe more known, but not that many people have seen it. And Khalil and I collectively agreed on one that we are going to say together, which is that I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, a Wayne's Brother movie.
Yep.
I'm a big Wayne's Brother fan. Growing up in the very multicultural and like very black aspect family I had, because on my mother's side a lot of my family members are actually people of color, because my grandmother is awesome and she doesn't care who you are, she loves, and she taught us all that same thing. And so I got a lot of awesome film from the black culture due to a lot of my family members, but absolutely I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
I'm Gonna Get You,
Sucker. Great comedy.
It's so great. It's a very good parody movie.
It's so good. It's ridiculous. You're not going to tell me you're my kid, right? Anyway. What movies do you have that it doesn't, even if it's just one, but like if you got some movies you think are either underrated or not even underrated, but people might not have seen that you want to suggest.
Yeah, so I do have one in particular that I wanted to share, and it's called Velocipaster.
What the?
This, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Velocipaster?
Velocipaster.
Is it
Yes.
about a dinosaur pasture?
It's about this guy who like starts to he's like transforming into a velociraptor. I'm not kidding. It even involves like ninjas in shit. Like it's
I'm
insane.
gonna watch this movie.
It's insane. It's not like by any means a good movie. It's one of those movies that knows it's bad and was playing into that. So I definitely think it's worth watching one time at the very least.
I'm going to.
Please do. It's so good. So that's one of mine, and another one of mine. I think you already have, so I'm gonna let you.
Yeah,
say
we'll talk about that one.
We watched
Yeah,
it together, so
1999, not well received by critics. Jamie Foxx is in a movie called Held Up, and it is one of the greatest comedies I had ever seen. It's impressive when a movie can take place in a single set, and that's what made this movie so good. Is it took place in one spot for 90, if not 95% of the movie, and it used every aspect of that set that it can. And I don't really want to give away too much other than Jamie Foxx goes into a gas station and it gets held up. Mm-hmm. And Khalil and I watched that movie together. We had never seen it, and we watched it like 2 years ago now, and I mean, it pops into my head periodically.
Yes.
I
cannot recommend that movie enough.
Exactly. I don't even want to give things away in case people listen to this and actually do go watch it, because it is phenomenal. Nina Long and Jamie Foxx.
There were some other notable actors in that movie too, aren't there?
There was a couple, yeah. Not like huge A-listers, but definitely some people you're like, oh, I recognize them.
Yeah.
Other movies I would suggest people watching. One of the ones I brought up earlier, and I said I'd bring it back right now, is the 70s version of the movie Clue. If you haven't seen Clue from the 70s, you need to. It is funny. It keeps you guessing every turn possible. If you've ever played the board game, it makes it that much better. If you haven't played the board game, you don't need to watch the movie. The movie Clue is phenomenal. It's so good. It inspired one of my favorite seasons of Family Guy, season 9. There's a whole Clue episode special that I'm holding in my hand right here. It's phenomenal. But the movie Clue from the 70s is really good. I had a few more that like I'm blanking on now because we talked about so many movies that I love throughout this. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to get you, Sucker, Held Up, Clue. Boy, oh boy, there was like one more. Yeah, so that's Khalil's.
That's fine. I just wanted to throw that out there again.
There was one more that I was going to suggest, maybe even two more. I know I would say Pitch Black, but that's only if you like weird action movies, and Vin Diesel, which he's a whole nother nutcase. But there was one more like niche movie I wanted to provide the people with, but I can't remember it, and it's going to bug the hell out of me. If I think of it, I'll put it in text right here, and if I don't, I'm sorry. I know you don't care. If it's there, it's there. Yeah, so I mean, thank you for indulging me, Khalil. I know this episode was very me-centric, but
it was a little difficult for me. It is true.
I love movies. I love them.
We'll have to do a TV show one.
We will. I was actually just thinking that.
I can definitely talk about TV shows.
Absolutely. All right, friends. Well, thank you if you watched or if you listened. With that being said, After Hours is now closed, I guess, if we're going to pretend it's a business with a neon sign. I'm flipping the switch. Go home.
I was gonna say you don't have to go home, but you gotta get the hell up out of here.
No, I'm saying you have to go home. Go home. You're grounded. All right, everyone.
All right.
Have a wonderful time wherever you do next in life. Go watch some of these movies, or leave. If you're watching on YouTube, actually send us some things to watch. Man, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yes, I will watch one.
All right. Bye, people.
Bye.